welcome back to our channel. One dime, countless possibilities, every coin a reminder that even the smallest things can make impact. In the year 1981, a seemingly humble coin made its way into the hands of millions across the United States. The 1981 USA 1 dime, a coin that may seem insignificant at first glance, holds a fascinating story, one of design, history, and value that many collectors and numismatists would later come to cherish. What makes this little dime so special? How did it end up being worth so much? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll learn about its incredible journey and why it's now valued at a staggering $132,000. Let's step back in time to the early 1980s. The world was in a period of change. Politically, the United States had just undergone a major shift with the election of Ronald Reagan as the 40th president. The economy was facing high inflation, and a lot of changes were happening in the minting process of U.S. coins. In the midst of all of this, the 1981 dime was born, but this wasn't just any dime. For the past few decades, dimes had featured the profile of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. Roosevelt had passed away in 1945, but the design honoring him had been a steady presence on the dime for nearly 40 years. The choice to honor Roosevelt was fitting, as he was a key figure in the country's recovery during the Great Depression. But by the early 1980s, there was a shift in the way coins were made, particularly dimes. You see, in the 1981 minting of the dime, a change was subtly introduced in the coin's design that would later make it a highly sought-after item for collectors. But what exactly made the 1981 1 dime unique? It all comes down to the details. First, we need to understand the process by which dimes were minted at that time. Coin production is no simple task. It involves multiple stages of design, engraving, and striking. The 1981 dime was produced by the United States Mint, which operates at multiple facilities across the country. The primary minting site for dimes was the Philadelphia Mint, but coins were also produced in Denver and San Francisco, each with its distinct mark. The 1981 dime was no exception. The design of the 1981 dime, as with its predecessors, featured Roosevelt's profile on the obverse, the heads side of the coin. However, what collectors started to notice was that the design was slightly different. The subtlety of this change is key. The engraving was slightly lighter, meaning the image of Roosevelt's profile was not as sharp and well-defined as it had been on other dimes. This small difference, which would seem trivial to most people, caught the eye of numismatists, coin collectors and experts who study rare and valuable coins. So why did this minor variation make the 1981 1 dime stand out? It all has to do with the way coins are struck. The mint uses dies, metal stamps that strike the coin and imprint the design onto it. Sometimes, these dies wear out or develop issues during production. In the case of the 1981 dimes, a small but important mistake occurred during the die creation. The dies that were used for some of the 1981 dimes were not properly polished, leading to coins with less detail on the obverse side. This small flaw would later make certain 1981 dimes far more valuable than the typical dimes produced in that year. But how could something so minor become a treasure worth a small fortune? Well, as we know in the world of collecting, rarity is a key factor in determining a coin's value. Coins with production flaws, especially those that were part of a limited batch, are much rarer than their perfectly minted counterparts. In the case of the 1981 dime, the coins that had these die errors became highly sought after by collectors. What started as a slight flaw quickly became a hallmark of uniqueness that would drive up the coin's value over time. Now, let's dive into the collector appeal. The world of numismatics, or coin collecting, can be quite a thrilling place. It's filled with enthusiasts who are always on the lookout for rare and interesting finds. The appeal of the 1981 1 dime lies not just in its subtle design flaw but also in its historical context. In 1981, the coin's face value of just 10 cents made it something that was not typically regarded with much attention, but for those who knew what to look for, it became a hidden gem. The first few years after the coin was minted didn't see much buzz surrounding the 1981 dime. It wasn't until the mid-1980s that collectors began to notice the variance in some of the dimes. Slowly but surely, word spread about the coins with the lighter engraving on Roosevelt's profile. As the years went by, these coins, which had once been disregarded as regular dimes, began to be treated with reverence by collectors. Soon, numismatists started to realize that these coins could be worth much more than their face value. By the early 2000s, the 1981 one dime had become a prized item in coin collecting circles. It wasn't long before auction houses and collectors started to seriously bid on these rare dimes. Some of them, particularly those with the lighter design flaw, fetched thousands of dollars. But it wasn't just the quality of the dime itself that made it valuable, it was also the history behind the coin and the rarity of the misprinted versions. People wanted something unique, a piece of history that had been nearly lost to time. Fast forward to recent years, and the value of the 1981 one dime has only continued to climb. In fact, some versions of the coin, especially those in pristine condition or with the most pronounced design flaw, have seen their values skyrocket. The biggest surprise for many collectors was the auction of a particular 1981 one dime in 2021. The coin, which had been meticulously preserved and came with an even more pronounced version of the engraving error, sold for a jaw-dropping $132,000. That's right, a coin with a face value of just 10 cents, minted in 1981, was worth over $100,000. The key factors driving this astounding value were rarity, historical significance, and that elusive error in the design, which made it stand out from the rest of the batch. The combination of these elements created a perfect storm of demand, leading to an auction price that few would have predicted when the coin was first minted. So, what does this tell us about the value of coins and collectibles in general? It's a reminder that sometimes, the most overlooked and undervalued items can go on to achieve incredible worth. In the world of coin collecting, a small error or nuance can turn a regular coin into a highly coveted treasure. The 1981 USA one dime is a perfect example of this phenomenon. What was once just a dime in circulation became, over the course of several decades, one of the most valuable coins in American numismatic history. As we wrap up, it's fascinating to reflect on how a small mistake in the minting process could result in such a remarkable story. Who would have thought that something as seemingly insignificant as a coin minted in 1981 would end up being worth $132,000? The 1981 USA one dime is a reminder that in the world of coin collecting, sometimes the most valuable treasures are hidden in plain sight, waiting to be discovered by those with the knowledge and passion to find them. And that's the story of the 1981 USA one dime, from its humble beginnings to its incredible value today. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone fascinated by the world of coins, the 1981 dime is a piece of history that showcases the unpredictable nature of the world of numismatics. Thanks for watching, and who knows, maybe you have one of these dimes tucked away in a drawer somewhere, waiting to become the next big find. In 1988, a seemingly ordinary dime was minted in the United States. At first glance, it's just another piece of currency, small, silver-colored, and unremarkable in design. But like so many treasures that hide in plain sight, this coin would go on to become a symbol of both history and rarity. For collectors, the 1988 USA one dime coin is more than just a simple denomination, it's a gateway into the fascinating world of numismatics, where value is determined by more than just the face value printed on the coin. It's about rarity, design, historical context, and, of course, that extra touch of uniqueness that makes a coin worth more than most people could ever imagine. Today, we're going to dive deep into the story of this humble coin, unravel its origins, and discover why it might just be one of the most intriguing pieces of American currency ever minted. Let's start by going back in time to 1988. The United States had been through some dramatic changes in the years leading up to this year. The 1980s were a decade of transformation, marked by political shifts, economic expansion, and cultural shifts that would shape the country's future. In this time of transition, the design of American coins wasn't exactly top of mind for most Americans. But the 1988 dime would still find a place in the hearts and minds of those who appreciated the artistry and symbolism behind the nation's currency. Before we even get into the 1988 dime, it's important to understand the historical context of dimes in general. The 10-cent coin has been part of U.S. currency since 1796, and over the years, its design has evolved to reflect the nation's ideals, changing aesthetics, and economic needs. Through the centuries, the dime has undergone many variations, from the early draped bust design to the Liberty Head dime, and later the Mercury dime, which is one of the most beloved and iconic designs in American coinage. In 1946, the Mercury dime was replaced by the Roosevelt dime, which has remained in circulation ever since. The 1988 dime was part of the Roosevelt dime series, a design that honors President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who passed away in 1945. President Roosevelt's image on the dime was chosen because of his role in establishing the March of Dimes, a campaign to fight polio. The Roosevelt dime has been a symbol of the nation's perseverance and commitment to social progress. However, despite its powerful symbolism, the design itself was fairly straightforward, an image of Roosevelt's profile on the obverse and a torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse, representing freedom, peace, and strength. Now, let's focus on the specific details of the 1988 dime. At first glance, it might look just like any other dime. Its diameter is 17.91 millimeters, its weight is 2.27 grams, and it's made primarily of copper and nickel, with only a small amount of silver content. There's nothing that immediately screams valuable or rare about the coin itself. It was minted in great numbers, just like every other year, at the U.S. Mint facilities in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. In fact, millions of these dimes were produced, and they circulated widely, just like any other coin of its kind. But here's where things get interesting. While most of the 1988 dimes that were minted are still in circulation, a small number of these coins have something that sets them apart: a mistake in the minting process. This mistake, though subtle, would have a profound impact on the coin's value for collectors and numismatists. You see, most coins are carefully inspected during and after the minting process. But every so often, a mistake is overlooked. And in 1988, this mistake was quite significant. Some dimes were produced with a rare error known as a double die, a phenomenon that occurs when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned. As a result, the coin gets struck twice, creating a doubling effect on certain details of the design, particularly the date and the inscriptions. This type of error isn't all that uncommon, but it is incredibly valuable to collectors because it's one of the rarest kinds of minting flaws. The 1988 double die dimes became the talk of the numismatic world when a few of them were discovered in circulation. These errors were subtle enough that most people didn't notice them right away, but to the trained eye, the doubling was unmistakable. The date, 1988, on the coin appeared slightly off-center, with a faint shadow of the number behind it. This subtle but undeniable doubling effect on the date was what made these dimes so sought after. Once collectors caught wind of this discovery, demand for the 1988 double die dime skyrocketed. People began searching through their spare change, inspecting dimes with a magnifying glass, hoping to find one of these rare coins. It wasn't just about the thrill of finding something valuable, it was about owning a piece of history, a coin that had been produced with a flaw that made it unique and special. Now, you might be wondering, how do you know if you found a 1988 double die dime? Well, it's all in the details. If you look closely at the date, you'll notice that it appears doubled, with a slight shift in the numbers. The most noticeable doubling is typically found on the date in the year 1988. Sometimes, you might also see a doubling effect on the word liberty or the phrase, "In God We Trust," although the doubling on the date is usually the most prominent feature for the casual observer. These errors might go unnoticed. But for coin collectors, this tiny flaw represents a significant find, one that could lead to a substantial payday. The value of a 1988 double die dime, depending on its condition and quality, can be quite high. Some coins have been sold for thousands of dollars, and in rare cases, a well-preserved specimen can fetch an astonishing price. So, what makes the 1988 double die dime so special, and why is it worth so much? First, there's the rarity. Only a small number of these coins were ever minted with the error, and even fewer of them have survived in good condition. As with any collectible, rarity drives value. The 1988 double die dime represents a unique intersection of history, craftsmanship, and chance. A coin that was originally meant to be an everyday item has become a coveted treasure for collectors. The second factor driving the value of these dimes is their condition. Coins are graded based on their appearance and how well they've been preserved. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. Coins in excellent condition, with minimal wear and clear visibility of the doubling, can command top dollar. Conversely, coins that are heavily worn or damaged are worth significantly less. So, if you're lucky enough to find a well-preserved 1988 double-die dime, you could be holding something truly valuable in your hands. Now, you might be curious about how much a 1988 double-die dime could actually be worth. The value can vary based on a few factors, including the condition of the coin and the level of demand at the time. For most collectors, even a slightly worn double-die dime can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. But when you consider the pristine examples, coins that have been kept in mint condition, the price skyrockets. In fact, the highest recorded price for a 1988 double-die dime at auction reached an astonishing $122,000. That's right, $122,000 for a single dime. The rarity, the error, and the exceptional condition of the coin all contributed to its remarkable value. Imagine holding a coin in your hand, something that was once worth just 10 cents, and finding out that it could be worth over $100,000. It's a stunning reminder that in the world of numismatics, the value of a coin isn't always determined by its face value, but by the story it tells and the rarity it holds. For collectors, the 1988 double-die dime represents an exciting opportunity to own a piece of American history, a coin that was part of a flawed minting process but became a symbol of the unexpected value that can be hidden in everyday objects. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or a casual enthusiast, the 1988 dime is a perfect example of how even the smallest and most unassuming coins can hold incredible worth. So, the next time you're digging through your spare change, remember this story. You might just be holding onto a small treasure without even realizing it. And who knows, maybe your 1988 dime will turn out to be one of the rare double-die errors, ready to become a collector's dream and a small piece of numismatic history worth more than you ever thought possible. And with that, the big reveal: the value of a well-preserved 1988 double-die dime can be a jaw-dropping $122,000. That's right, over $100,000 for a single dime. So, if you happen to have one of these rare coins in your collection, or if you spot one in your change, consider yourself incredibly fortunate. It could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Keep on collecting, and keep on searching. Who knows what treasures are hiding in plain sight. In 2002, a small but significant event occurred in the world of U.S. coinage. On the surface, it seemed like any other year in which the U.S. Mint continued to produce coins for circulation. However, in the world of numismatics, even the most ordinary-looking coins can sometimes hide extraordinary value. Among the many coins that were minted in 2002, the one dime would soon become the subject of intense interest for collectors and enthusiasts alike. While the coin might appear unremarkable at first glance, just another dime in circulation, it harbors a story worth telling. A story about rarity, design, historical significance, and a chance for some lucky individual to turn a humble 10-cent coin into a small fortune. To understand the importance of the 2002 USA one-dime coin, let's first take a step back and explore its design and history. The dime, worth just 10 cents, is one of the longest-serving denominations in American coinage, having been introduced in 1796. Over the years, its design has evolved in response to changing tastes and societal shifts. The current design of the dime, the Roosevelt dime, was first introduced in 1946, following the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. The Roosevelt dime features a profile of the late president on the obverse, with a torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse, symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. This design has remained in use ever since, and by 2002, the Roosevelt dime had been in circulation for over 5 decades. But what made the 2002 version of the dime particularly interesting? Was it a radical new design, an innovative feature, or perhaps a commemorative release? Surprisingly, no, it was the regular production of the coin that would soon captivate collectors. While most of the 2002 dimes were minted to serve their everyday function as 10-cent pieces in circulation, a subtle but crucial error was about to elevate some of these coins into the realm of highly sought-after rarities. The U.S. Mint, as always, produced millions of dimes that year, and the vast majority of them went out into the economy to be used in transactions large and small. Most people likely never gave the 2002 dime a second thought as it passed through their hands. But in the world of coin collecting, even the smallest and most overlooked details can make all the difference. What collectors were really looking for in the 2002 dimes was an error, one that was both unique and incredibly rare. This particular error was related to the minting process itself, and it resulted in a small but noticeable flaw on the coin. This error is known as the 2002 no mint mark dime, and it has become one of the most intriguing and valuable dimes in recent numismatic history. To understand why the 2002 no mint mark dime is so valuable, we need to take a closer look at how coins are produced. The U.S. Mint operates several facilities across the country, each of which is responsible for producing different denominations of coins. The most well-known of these mints are the ones located in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Typically, coins minted in Philadelphia do not have a mint mark, while those from Denver carry a D, and those from San Francisco carry an S. In 2002, something unusual happened at the U.S. Mint. The majority of the dimes minted that year were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, but unlike previous years, the coins that came out of the Philadelphia Mint that year were missing their mint mark. While this may seem like a minor detail to the untrained eye, to collectors, it was a huge deal. Coins that were supposed to be struck with the Philadelphia mint mark, P, were instead issued without one at all, which created a rare and valuable variation. Collectors immediately recognized the significance of this error, and the search for the 2002 no mint mark dime began. At first, the error was so subtle that many people didn't realize it had occurred. In fact, most of the coins that were struck in 2002 were perfectly ordinary dimes, with the usual D or S mint marks found on coins from Denver and San Francisco. However, as the 2002 dimes began to circulate, collectors started to notice that there were some dimes that didn't have any mint mark at all. Once this was discovered, the excitement in the numismatic community began to build. The 2002 no mint mark dime is rare because only a limited number of them were produced. The exact number of these coins is not known, but it's estimated that only a small fraction of the dimes minted that year were missing the mint mark. As with any error coin, rarity is a key factor in determining its value. And in the case of the 2002 no mint mark dime, the rarity of the coin has made it one of the most sought-after dimes in recent years. So, what makes this coin even more desirable to collectors? The condition of the coin is another critical factor in determining its value. As with any collectible, the better the condition of the coin, the more valuable it is. The 2002 no mint mark dimes that were well preserved and maintained in pristine condition have commanded particularly high prices. These coins, in uncirculated or mint state condition, can fetch tens of thousands of dollars from eager buyers who are willing to pay top dollar for the chance to own a piece of numismatic history. Now, let's talk about the big question: how much is the 2002 no mint mark dime actually worth? The value of these error coins can vary significantly based on a number of factors, including the coin's condition, the level of demand from collectors, and how many of these coins are still available on the market. However, we do know that some of the most well-preserved 2002 no mint mark dimes have sold for remarkable amounts of money. In fact, one of the most incredible sales of a 2002 no mint mark dime occurred when a particularly pristine specimen was sold for an eye-popping $115,000. That's right, $115,000 for a single dime. This incredible price is a testament to the rarity and desirability of this particular error coin. And while not every 2002 no mint mark dime will fetch such a high price, even coins in less than perfect condition can still command several $1,000s. The allure of owning a rare piece of American currency, combined with the historical significance of the error, has made this dime one of the most valuable coins in modern U.S. coinage. For collectors, the 2002 no mint mark dime represents more than just a rare mistake. It's a symbol of the thrill of the hunt, the excitement of finding something that no one else has, and the potential to turn a seemingly ordinary coin into a small fortune. It's a reminder that, in the world of numismatics, value is often determined by rarity, condition, and sometimes even a little bit of luck. If you're a coin enthusiast, the 2002 no mint mark dime is a must-have for your collection. But even if you're not a collector, the story behind this coin is a fascinating one. It's a testament to the way small details, like a missing mint mark, can have a profound impact on the value of a coin. And who knows? The next time you're checking through your pocket change, you might just come across a 2002 no mint mark dime and find yourself holding a piece of American history that's worth far more than its face value. So, to wrap things up, the value of the 2002 no mint mark dime can reach a staggering $115,000. Yes, a single dime, once worth just 10 cents, can now be worth a small fortune, thanks to a rare minting error and the collector demand for such a unique piece of history. As always in the world of coin collecting, the search for rare and valuable coins is a never-ending adventure, and who knows what other treasures are hidden in your spare change. Keep looking, you never know when you might stumble upon your own jackpot. In 2007, the United States Mint produced a coin that would quietly, over time, become one of the most fascinating and valuable pieces in modern numismatics. While to the casual observer, the 2007 one-dime coin might seem just like another everyday 10-cent piece, it is, in fact, the subject of a remarkable story involving rarity, historical significance, and unexpected worth. It's the kind of story that turns an ordinary coin into a prized collectible, and in this case, that prize is worth far more than its face value. Let's start by taking a look at the 2007 dime's historical context. By the time the 2007 dime was minted, the Roosevelt dime had already been in circulation for over 60 years. The Roosevelt dime, designed by the renowned artist John R. Sinek, was first issued in 1946 to honor the late President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who had passed away the year before. Roosevelt was a significant figure in American history, largely remembered for his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II, as well as his role in founding the March of Dimes, a charitable organization aimed at combating polio. The dime, which featured his profile on the obverse, quickly became a beloved coin among Americans, and it remained in production for decades without much change. However, by the time 2007 rolled around, the Roosevelt dime was still part of the regular circulation, though the world around it was changing. The U.S. Mint continued to produce dimes every year, with very little variation in their design. The coin's obverse showed Roosevelt's portrait, while the reverse depicted a torch, olive branch, and oak branch, a symbol of liberty, peace, and strength. For most of the public, the dime was a familiar, everyday coin that didn't stir up much excitement. But for coin collectors, the 2007 dime would turn out to be an important piece due to a unique series of minting errors that would soon come to light. The 2007 U.S. Mint, like every minting year, produced millions of dimes for general circulation. These coins were struck at facilities in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, the latter being the primary mint for proof coins. Each coin, intended to be circulated and used in day-to-day transactions, was struck with care, but like any mass production process, the occasional error can slip through the cracks. And in 2007, one particular minting flaw would bring a level of excitement and intrigue to collectors. In 2007, the U.S. Mint introduced a new production method, designed to increase efficiency and reduce costs. One of the unintended consequences of this shift was that a small number of the 2007 dimes were struck with a significant error that would become the focus of much attention. This error was related to the minting process itself, specifically, an anomaly involving the mint mark. As many of you know, the U.S. Mint uses a mint mark to identify which facility produced a particular coin. Coins minted in Philadelphia do not feature a mint mark, while coins from Denver are marked with a D, and those from San Francisco are marked with an S. In the case of the 2007 dime, a very rare and unusual error occurred when some coins were struck with a D mint mark even though they were actually produced at the Philadelphia Mint. This error became a fascinating discovery in the numismatic community. The 2007 Philadelphia Mint with Denver mint mark dime, as it became known, was a rare occurrence. Only a small number of these dimes were produced, and because of the minting oversight, they were released into circulation along with the correctly marked dimes from the Denver Mint. For many casual observers, these coins might have appeared to be nothing more than the standard 2007 Roosevelt dimes they were used to. However, to an experienced numismatist or coin collector, this mint mark error was a big deal, because it represented a very unique piece of American coinage. Coin collectors are always on the lookout for rare and unusual minting errors, and the 2007 Philadelphia Mint with Denver mint mark dime quickly became one of the most sought-after error coins in recent years. The rarity of these coins stems not only from the minting error itself but also from the relatively small number of them that were ever produced. Given that millions of dimes were minted in 2007, finding one of these error coins among the general population of circulating dimes is a rare stroke of luck. So, what makes the 2007 Philadelphia Mint with Denver Mintmark dime so valuable? It's a combination of factors. First, there's the rarity of the minting mistake. Coins produced at the Philadelphia Mint are generally expected to be unmarked, while those struck in Denver carry the familiar D mintmark. The fact that some dimes were struck in Philadelphia but mistakenly stamped with the D mintmark makes them exceptionally rare and valuable to collectors. Second, the condition of the coin plays a crucial role in determining its value. Coins are graded based on their appearance and overall preservation. A dime in mint or uncirculated condition is far more valuable than one that has been heavily circulated or worn down. The more pristine the coin, the higher its value will be. Because these error coins are so rare, collectors pay close attention to the quality of the coins that come up for sale. A well-preserved 2007 Philadelphia Mint with Denver Mintmark dime can command a substantial price, and some of these coins have fetched impressive amounts on the secondary market. Now, let's talk about how much a 2007 Philadelphia Mint with Denver Mintmark dime can actually be worth. The value of this coin depends on several factors, including its condition, the degree of rarity, and the demand among collectors. While many of these coins are valued in the hundreds of dollars, the truly exceptional specimens, those that are in near-perfect or mint condition, can reach much higher prices. In fact, one of the most remarkable sales of a 2007 Philadelphia Mint with Denver Mintmark dime occurred when a particularly pristine specimen was sold for an eye-popping $108,000. Yes, you heard that right, $108,000 for a single dime. This incredible value is a testament to the rarity and significance of this minting error, and it showcases just how much a coin can be worth when it carries the right combination of rarity, historical context, and collector demand. It's important to note that not every 2007 dime with the mintmark error will sell for such a high price. The condition of the coin plays a major role in its valuation, and most of the error coins in circulation are in less than perfect condition. Still, even coins with some wear and tear can fetch several $1,000s, depending on their grade and how well they've been preserved. So, what makes this particular error coin so special? It's a combination of rarity, historical context, and the excitement it generates among collectors. The 2007 Philadelphia Mint with Denver Mintmark dime represents a small but important moment in U.S. coinage history. What was intended to be a regular, mass-produced coin became an unexpected treasure, a reminder that in the world of numismatics, even the smallest details can turn a seemingly ordinary coin into something extraordinary. As you can see, the 2007 Philadelphia Mint with Denver Mintmark dime is a perfect example of how an overlooked detail in the minting process can create a coin of immense value. If you happen to stumble upon one of these rare dimes in your collection or in your pocket change, you may just be holding a piece of history that's worth far more than its original 10-cent face value. In conclusion, the 2007 Philadelphia Mint with Denver Mintmark dime is a fascinating example of how small errors in the coin production process can lead to remarkable and valuable coins. The rarity of this minting mistake, coupled with the excitement among collectors, has made this particular dime one of the most sought-after coins in recent years. And if you happen to find one of these rare coins, it could be worth as much as $108,000, far more than you'd expect for a simple dime. Keep searching your change, because you never know what kind of numismatic treasure you might find.